Q1 market review. I've titled it One for the Record Books. We certainly saw some historic volatility, historic measures from the government, and some historic economic data as well. So let's get going, and I'll apologize up front. There is a lot of information that I'm going to be going through. I might be going through it rather rapidly. So if you've got a pen and paper, maybe jot down questions and page numbers. I may have to skip some things because there's so many charts and graphs in here that I thought we might want to talk about, but I will do my best to go through it, give it its due, but at the same time be conscious of how much time we're spending. So just apologize up front if I feel, seem like I'm going through it pretty quickly. Okay. So, so like I said, one for the record books. This was truly a black swan event. I'm referring to the COVID-19 pandemic. A black swan is defined as an unpredictable event that's beyond what is normally expected of a situation, and it could have potentially severe consequences. They're characterized by extreme rarity, severe impact, and in some instances, a widespread belief or insistence that they should have been obvious in hindsight. And I don't know that that's the case with this particular event, but there have been people who have been calling for, some sort of pandemic situation to pop up for many, many, many years, but they are very rare. But we are in the midst of one right now. Want to review, just going to kind of give you a brief outline of some of the stuff that we're going to cover today. We're going to talk a little bit about Q1 performance, of course. We're going to talk a little bit about a probable recession and some of the recession indicators that we look at, the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the economy and the markets. We're going to go through some of the stimulus events that have occurred as a response to this. We'll review some of the health data that I think is important. I'm assuming that most people are kept up to date on this, but in case you haven't, we want to make sure we review that. And if we have time, we want to go through some, I think, very important investing principles that we should all try and keep top of mind when we go through periods of extreme volatility like we have. So that's kind of a brief summary of what we want to cover, time permitting. Okay. Just reviewing performance. This is a chart, a 10-year time frame of the S&P 500. So you can see the dramatic, almost cliff-like drop on the far right-hand side of the chart. That's the COVID-19 response to the markets. But again, over time, you can see the markets generally have moved up quite nicely over the past 10 years. We have even seen a pretty significant rebound recently off of the lows that were reached on March 23rd. I'll go into that in a little bit more detail on the next slide. But again, if we can keep a long-term perspective with investing, generally speaking, markets, although volatile in short periods of time, generally move up over long periods of time if you're a patient investor. Looking at the one-year performance of the S&P 500, again, you can see the drop that started on February 19th, I believe, was the high in the S&P 500, and it reached a low on March 23rd.